Thanks for joining us for KSAT News at 9, streaming live here in the KSAT 12 newsroom. I'm Courtney Friedman. Coming up in our show tonight, we're learning more about an inflammatory condition found in children that's been linked to COVID-19. We're fact-checking claims found on an image circulating social media, and the president and CEO of the Texas Biomedical Research Institute is joining us to answer your questions about when we can expect a coronavirus vaccine. But first, the latest on COVID-19 in San Antonio. One additional death was reported today, bringing our local death toll to 64, and 49 new cases have been confirmed. 26 of those are community spread. 1,107 people are still fighting the virus tonight, and 1,200 have recovered. New tonight, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office asking the state of Texas to reimburse the agency more than $468,000 for housing inmates meant for state prisons and treatment centers. That's according to records obtained by our KSAT defenders. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice had issued a temporary suspension of prisoner transfers because of concerns surrounding COVID-19. The money the Sheriff's Office is requesting includes reimbursement for inmate care as well as detention officers' overtime. Fever, abdominal pain, vomiting, and rash. These are some of the symptoms of a new condition affecting children linked to COVID-19. The condition is called multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C. Here in Texas, the state says it's been notified of suspected cases, and we're going to bring you that story right after this. This is an image that's gone viral on social media, shared by numerous blogs with tens of thousands of views. You can see it lists 21 guidelines for schools to follow when they begin reopening. Online comments show it's caused some concern for parents. The image cites the CDC, but does this list say exactly what the CDC does?
We ran it through our KSAT Trust Index and labeled the information "Be careful." Here's why. The information on this list does reflect the content of the CDC's website, but some of the wording makes it seem like these guidelines are rules, when instead they're just recommendations. One point on the blog's list that concerned some parents said, wear masks if over the age of 2. We cross-referenced that with the CDC's website and found the CDC is encouraging children to wear masks, but says, quote, face coverings may be challenging for students, especially young students, to wear in all-day settings such as school. Another point garnering attention, only prepackaged boxes or bags of food instead of hot lunches. This one was taken a bit out of context. The CDC website says that only applies to events, not as part of the daily routine. One more point on the list says install sneeze guards or partitions when 6 feet apart won't work. This isn't included in the CDC's guidelines, but instead offered as an additional consideration, saying, if possible, schools may consider implementing these strategies to maintain healthy operations.
And we reached out to several local school districts, and both Northeast and Northside ISD tell us they haven't finalized their plans, and we're still waiting to hear back from several others. We've also pulled the CDC's explanations for many more points on this list, and you can find that breakdown right now on KSAT.com. If you have a claim, picture, or video you want us to verify, head to KSAT.com/trustindex and fill out the form. It's one more reason you can trust KSAT with the news that's important to you. Well, May is Mental Health Month, and experts say isolation and loneliness are being magnified by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially among seniors in our community. They say those symptoms could lead seniors to be more vulnerable to exploitation and neglect. In April, Adult Protective Services saw the number of contacts to the Texas Abuse Hotline drop about 30% when compared to April of 2019. It's also a 24% drop since 2018. That's concerning because experts say the abuse is likely happening, just not being reported.
And so family members, I would just encourage them to call a little more often than they do. If neighbors see anything suspicious, I would ask that they notify authorities or find some other way to check in on those elders.
The hotline is used for calls concerning both adults and children. So to report abuse or neglect, call Adult Protective Services at 1-800-252-5400. Now let's turn to the 9 at 9. We're learning more about a shooting at a Texas Naval Air Station, a massive group of dolphins spotted off the coast of California, plus a roundup of how COVID-19 is impacting communities across the world.
Here's tonight's 9 at 9. Here at home,
he qualified to be released on his own recognizance.
But by then, an order from the governor kept him at the Bexar County Jail.
Now Jack Henson is one of more than 400 inmates to contract COVID-19.
The crime Henson is charged with occurred here at San Fernando Hall last August. Henson accused of tampering with the sprinkler system, causing a lot of damage to the venue and office supplies inside of it.
Records show Henson was indicted for the incident in September, weeks after getting out on bond, but after suffering a mental health episode late last year, he was hospitalized and missed a court appearance. That led to a warrant for his rearrest, and he's now been in jail since New Year's Eve. The FBI says a shooting at a Corpus Christi Naval Air Station is being investigated as terrorism related. The shooting happened just after 6 a.m. at one of the gates on the base. The attack left one sailor with injuries. The gunman was later killed in an exchange of gunfire. Investigators also believe there may be a second person of interest on the run.
The San Antonio City Council approving extending Mayor Ron Nirenberg's latest stay-home work safe order. This morning, they extended it till June 4th.
The order closely aligns with what the governor's orders are to reopen the state.
Nirenberg said the city's tracking several indicators. You can actually see them on the city website. If things take a dive, he says they're going to have a candid conversation with the governor, and they'll expect partnership to deal with the issue.
Latin America appears to be reporting more coronavirus cases than the U.S. or Europe. That's according to a new CNN analysis of data from the World Health Organization and Johns Hopkins University. Latin America has outstripped the U.S. and Europe for 3 days straight. The increase appears to come from a surge of cases in Peru, Mexico, and especially Brazil. A former White House butler who served 11 presidents has died from the coronavirus. 91-year-old Wilson Roosevelt German started as a cleaner in the Eisenhower administration, but it was First Lady Jackie Kennedy who promoted him to butler. He served more than 50 years in the White House. A Houston woman is sharing an incredible story of having a surprise baby. She says she had no idea she was pregnant until she delivered.
I just started having cramps, so I got in the bathtub as I normally would. And then not even an hour later, he was here. I never felt like I had to push, but at a certain point, I felt like my body was pushing. And then he came very quick after that.
She gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Mexico City's breweries will be up and running again soon. Starting June 1st, beer production will be considered an essential activity. Each essential activity is required to follow health and safety protocols in order to operate. In New York, a man is receiving praise after returning thousands of dollars that he found after a car accident that occurred in his neighborhood. Police say the driver dropped something while trying to run away from the scene. It turned out to be 2 stacks of money totaling more than $18,000. A witness held the money and turned it over to responding officers.
Kind of think of it as if it was happening to you. What would you want done?
The police department plans to reward that witness for his honesty. A super pod of dolphins spotted off the coast of Orange County, California. At least 1,000 common dolphins were spotted just before sunset, jumping in and out of the water near Laguna Beach. Newport Coastal Adventures, which conducts whale watching tours for families, posted this video. They say it's not unusual to encounter pods of a couple hundred dolphins, but seeing a group this big doesn't happen often. To read more about these stories, head to KSAT.com.
Fever, abdominal pain, vomiting, and a rash. Those are some symptoms of a new condition affecting children linked to COVID-19. The condition is called multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, or MISC. Here in Texas, the state says it has been notified of suspected cases. Tiffany Huerta spoke with the pediatric health experts about this rare and concerning condition.
This is thought to be quite rare.
Dr. Eyal Muscal from Texas Children's Hospital in Houston and member of the Texas Pediatric Society says he has been treating children with symptoms that are also found in a rare condition called multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MISC.
A variety of illnesses can actually look like MISC.
The CDC says MISC is a condition where different body parts can become inflamed. Some symptoms include fever, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, rash, and bloodshot eyes. According to the agency, they do not know yet what causes this, but it reports many children with MISC had the virus that causes COVID-19 or had been around someone with COVID-19.
If a family has had an exposed family member, and their child now 2 to 4 to 6 weeks later has new fevers and is not looking well and has other symptoms, they really need to reach out to their pediatricians.
The Texas Department of State Health Services says they have been notified of a few suspected cases, but none of those cases have been confirmed yet. Dr. David Kimberlin, professor of pediatrics at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, says he has spoken with several doctors taking care of children who are experiencing symptoms of MIS-C.
When children do have this in those rare situations, they're really quite sick, and they almost always head to the intensive care unit. They tend to bounce back pretty quick, but for the most part, although not in all situations.
As the CDC and health experts continue to learn about the MIS-C and how it affects children, the doctors say parents should not panic.
Children, we do recognize, are a lot less likely to be infected with the COVID virus. Only about 2% of all the people being reported right now as infected are children.
The CDC says they have a team investigating and working with scientists, healthcare providers, and other partners to learn more about this new syndrome. Courtney?
Thank you so much, Tiffany. The American Academy of Pediatrics says MIS-C has been compared to another rare childhood condition called Kawasaki disease. If you notice any of these symptoms on your screen, call your pediatrician. Well, I did get some rain downtown last night, Katie, and you know, it sounded kind of loud, but it went pretty quick, and now it's a little quiet.
We had that initial gust of wind with the gust front, and then it was just great sleeping weather last night.
I fell asleep to it.
It was so nice. Yeah, nice to get a little bit more rain here. And if you didn't get any rain last night, do not worry. Really starting on Saturday and through the duration of next week, we've got rain chances in the forecast. Let's take a quick look at Doppler radar. What you're seeing here developing is some ground clutter near our radar site. That's also some bats taking off for the evening. All the thunderstorm activity that developed out in northern Mexico this afternoon has already started to fizzle out. So there's no concern that that will kind of flare up and move east like it did last night. There are also some storms up in West Texas near San Angelo and the Concho Valley. Those also look to be moving north and east rather than south. So I'm also starting to be less and less concerned about any of those storms making it down to South Texas tonight. So falling into the 70s through the overnight hours, warm, muggy. Those low clouds will be back in place by the time you get up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll see some sunshine. High temperatures generally back in the low 90s. It'll be another hot and muggy day for the most part. Can't rule out an isolated afternoon shower or storm tomorrow. And we'll also watch northern Mexico for some thunderstorm activity tomorrow evening. But it's Saturday that our rainfall coverage really increases. A 60% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms really Saturday evening. Some of those could be strong to severe, and then we've got rain chances even beyond Tuesday next week. So a lot to talk about weather-wise. We'll also talk a little bit about the upcoming hurricane season. The National Hurricane Center's forecast came out today. So several topics we'll be touching on here in just a few minutes in the full forecast.
Right, thanks so much, Katie.
Yep.
We'll be back in 1 minute. Just stay with us.
Every night at around this time, we bring our experts to answer our viewers' questions, our questions. And tonight, Dr. Larry Schlesinger, the president and CEO of Texas Biomedical Research Institute, joins us. And we appreciate you being here with us, doctor. And, you know, there's so much information that's out there, and that's kind of one of the reasons we do this coronavirus Q&A, is to separate the facts from the fear and all that's out there. What should people be looking for between now and the time we actually have a vaccine that's ready to go to market? I mean, it's kind of like we're going to hear about so-called medical breakthroughs. I'll put that in quotations. What should people be wary of as they hear about all this?
Right. I think that's a great question, and it's good to be with you this evening. I have been through several infectious disease outbreaks in my career over 30 years as an infectious disease specialist and researcher in infectious diseases. And there are a couple of distinguishing features to this pandemic that are worth highlighting. The 24/7 news cycle is rapid firing, producing information to the public nonstop, and we're kind of glued to our phones and our televisions and hearing about all this news. And mixed with that, science discoveries, politics, views and opinions. There's also this entity called bioarchives, which has been around since around 2013, which is a public repository where if you're writing a paper, you can deposit it there and have it in the public view even before it's been so-called peer reviewed, which is the time-honored approach to really looking at the science that makes a difference. So we're getting deluged with information. And I think we're really getting tidbits, little pieces and parts that are then talked about excessively in the public arena. And they're factoids. They're not really vetted facts. We're hearing information from companies. So I think it's very difficult. We get fatigued. And my biggest concern is that that the public will get disappointed when they hear about something so promising and the next day there's a problem. So I think we need to be patient. We need to look at publications that have been thoroughly vetted in quality journals that are reported upon. Need to talk to experts like myself in venues such as this one. And we need to be patient. We need to understand that science does take time. It's a lot of trial and error. We know as scientists there's more failure than success. And we really do need to work night and day to get to things like drugs or vaccines that really are effective to a large audience. So patience, knowledge, and a careful eye towards these rapid fire news stories.
Yeah, let's get to some of our viewer questions that they have for you tonight, Doctor. The first one, how long does it usually take to develop a vaccine?
Well, the quickest one we've developed historically is about 4 years. And typically you're talking about 10 to 20 years. At Texas Biomed, we were very involved in the development of the Ebola vaccine, the lead of which has been used in the Congo recently, a success story there with the outbreak being mostly halted. And that was work we were involved with a company for over a decade. And that was already pretty quick. So the idea that we have a fully researched vaccine that's gone through clinical trials, that's been manufactured, that works in the majority of people. And remember, for COVID-19, we're talking about everyone on the planet is susceptible. So you're talking about giving the vaccine to different age ranges, to people who might have other diseases. The idea that we'll be there by the end of the year, to me, is I hold hope, but I think it's very unlikely. I think there's going to be some forks in the road. There's going to be some slowdowns, and it's going to take longer. So I think we can move faster than we have historically, just by the nature of these groups coming together, Operation Warp Speed and others. But I think it's going to take longer than people think.
My 6 o'clock co-anchor, Isis Romero, had a question that she was going to ask you at 6 o'clock is, even once we get the vaccine that seemingly works, you're talking about a massive undertaking when you're talking basically every country in the world, everybody in the world wants one of these vaccines. How is that going to be mass produced?
Right. I mean, I think it's going to be very difficult. One of the answers that you hear is that we'll produce more than one vaccine, and we may find out that we need several vaccines that target different populations. There's also the issue that there's a race to vaccine, and we have different countries participating. And so there's a question about, who gets, the first vaccine. Is it in the country of discovery, or is it going to be broadly distributed? Which companies will partner to effectively make the vaccine? I think these are really serious questions. I mean, we talk about the number of vials. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and we don't know how many doses in a given individual will be necessary to have a sustained response to the vaccine. So these are clearly questions, challenges that we'll face.
All right, I want to get through as many viewer questions as we can. And, I always call the San Antonio biotech industry one of the best kept secrets. I mean, it's a huge success story. The next question is, how is San Antonio playing a role in developing a vaccine? And once we have a vaccine, will San Antonio play a role in testing it?
Right. So I'll speak about Texas Biomedical Research Institute because I think we have over decades actually played major role in vaccine development for Ebola vaccine. We were very involved in the hepatitis B vaccine, the hepatitis therapy studies, working with the private sector and the FDA, and we have a lot of experience. Right now, we are completing a major study in which we tested several of our primate species at the Southwest National Primate Research Center at Texas Biomed. And we have some very promising results that you'll be hearing about in the next couple of weeks. We're writing up the first major paper now that really have the animals that are susceptible to develop COVID-19. We have measures now, what are called quantifiable measures, things that we can measure so that if we now give the animals a vaccine and then challenge them with the virus, we can really objectively determine whether the vaccine protects. And we know how to do this very well. We have experts in the Institute, virologists, people who've been doing contract science. So I think our contribution to Texas Biomed will be primarily in these fully vetted animal models systems, and we're also working with small animals at the Institute, which are also going to be good models to put through a lot of therapies and vaccines. We're going to play a major role in confirming whether there are lead therapies or vaccines going forward in conjunction with clinical trials. And I think that will be very important. There are other science projects going on at the medical school and at UTSA, as well as Southwest Research Institute, and in the private sector, Broadbridge Global, and others, who are participating in various aspects of science, whether it be new drug discovery, new drugs that may make it through the pipeline, clinical studies with currently approved therapies like remdesivir, or plasma therapy, antibody therapy, which is going on at Broadbridge Global. So I think collectively we have a large role to play, and the best news, and I always like to say it this way, is that we're working together to utilize each other's talents and to synergize so we move more quickly.
When will we know how long recovered COVID-19 patients will have immunity? That's one of the many things that are going on out there.
Right, so these are going to take longer longitudinal studies where we really learn more about what is, we make a lot of different kind of antibodies, and we have to find out exactly which ones are the best ones, and there's science coming along in that regard. We have to learn about when the antibodies are made, and only through these studies over time will we ultimately learn about the duration, the durability of those viruses, and that's a key question with regard to the length of time that we can protect, that an individual is protected either from natural COVID-19 infection or from any vaccine we administer. That's an absolute key question, and we don't have the answer to that yet.
Does it seem like that's on the same timeline with the vaccine?
I think that, it'll come through some of the clinical trial studies where we'll be learning more and more, but those studies will continue. There are a number of blood tests, the so-called antibody tests, that are, it's almost a cottage industry of tests that are being vetted, calibrated. Some we're hearing about have what are called false positive and false negatives with them. So there's not really a lead one yet that we can truly believe in. But I think those studies will allow us to evaluate over time the nature of those antibodies and how long they last. So I think the studies will continue. And the real question is, where are we at in the fall and next spring with regard to COVID-19? And at that point, do we have therapies? And how far along is that vaccine? Ultimately, those are the interventions that are going to enable us to go back to normal lives, as we like to talk about it.
Right. Next question. Can sunlight kill the virus?
So there's a little bit, there's some evidence that UV light can kill COVID-19. We were actually involved in testing a machine of a local company, Xenex, in which it's a very high frequency pulsating type of a UV light. So there is some evidence that UV light has an effect, but I would say even besides the UV light, by being outside, outside also has, if it's windy, if you're 6 feet apart, it's very unlikely we're going to transmit the virus in an outdoor activity anyway.
Yeah.
So there's some evidence for that.
And the final question from our viewers: can the virus be spread through air conditioning units?
It's not really a lot of evidence for it, and I would say it's a theoretical risk. But this is mostly a droplet transmission, where close proximity in a closed environment is really the human to human is the most effective way to transmit. It can last for some period of time on surfaces, and so there's certainly hand washing and hygiene measures need to stay in place. But it's not what I would call a primary transmission route.
Yeah. Dr. Larry Schlesinger from the Texas Biomedical Research Institute right here in San Antonio. I can't say that enough. This is research being done right here in San Antonio. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
You know, I'm really glad the Avatar thing has already calmed down a little bit. Throughout the week, the number of people posting the avatars has like plummeted. So I think everyone got it out of their system early.
I did not once look at how to do that because I knew it just wasn't going to happen for me.
No. But I think it's fast. So thanks Facebook for that. We appreciated it.
It's gone.
On the list of things that like no one wants to worry about for the rest of the year is hurricane season, but nonetheless, it's happening. It officially begins on June 1st. We actually had our first named storm already this season, Tropical Storm Arthur. That's no more. It minorly affected the Outer Banks of North Carolina earlier in the week. But yeah, we are rapidly approaching the official start of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. And today, the National Hurricane Center released their hurricane season forecast. So here are their numbers. Colorado State, which is also big into research and forecasting for tropical meteorology, puts out a forecast each year as well. So you see those numbers as compared to an average year. So the National Hurricane Center expecting 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 6 major hurricanes, and overall there's a 60% chance of an above average season. So the headline that's kind of been passed around today has been, oh, there's going to be more tropical storms, hurricanes than normal. Well, what you've got to consider is that this forecast doesn't give any information as to where these hurricanes or major hurricanes could go, because that is simply impossible to forecast this far out. So we've got the whole Atlantic basin here. That's the Atlantic Ocean, that's the Caribbean, that's also the Gulf of Mexico. So while it could be a more active season, it only takes one storm to affect the Texas coast for it to really impact a lot of us. So always good to be prepared, even here in South and Central Texas. Look at the time lapse from today. We saw a good amount of sunshine this afternoon. That helped us to warm up to 93 degrees and some nice color this evening. We had some high thin clouds moving in from northern Mexico. A little bit of thunderstorm activity out there did toss us some high clouds, but all those storms, as we saw on radar earlier, have fizzled out, and it'll be rain-free for us tonight. However, as we get into the holiday weekend and next week, our weather pattern is really going to begin to change. We've got a piece of upper-level energy, rain-making energy, that is going to sink down into Texas over the course of the weekend. But through the middle part of next week, it looks like it's going to get cut off from the rest of the jet stream, and so it's just going to sit over Texas through the duration of next week. And that means we've got rain chances in the forecast each day, and rain chances are really going to begin to pick up for the weekend. So I know a lot of folks are looking forward to the long holiday weekend, but just know as you're making plans, if you want to try to spend a little bit of time outside, just know we've got chances of storms in the forecast, and it's going to be rounds of storms, not a washout each day, but rounds of storms each day that could result in some really healthy rainfall numbers. This is through the middle of next week, some 2 to 4 inches of rain possible across portions of South Texas, especially here up in portions of the hill country in Central Texas, and we could tack on even some more rain to that as we get into the middle part of next week. So overall, a change in our weather pattern is coming, and it is trending toward a little bit cooler, yes, but also higher chances of rain. So something to keep in mind. For your day tomorrow, starting off gray in the morning, a chance of an isolated pop-up shower or storm in the afternoon. We'll also keep an eye on some storms out to the west tomorrow night. Those could try to drift closer to San Antonio through early Saturday morning, but we do believe it will be Saturday evening that we'll start to see a complex of storms move in from the west, and then that kicks off again a very kind kind of a stormy stretch of weather for us through the middle part of next week. Again, not raining all day every day. We can't stress that enough, but we'll have those complexes of storms that come through, producing some heavy rain, maybe even some severe weather, hail, and wind issues. So a lot going on the next week or so, and of course we'll keep everyone updated.
Good week to have your KSAT weather app available.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Thanks so much, Katie. A new group of businesses, including bars, will reopen their doors tomorrow as part of Governor Abbott's plan to jumpstart the economy. RJ Marquez breaks down what's reopening and what you need to know before you head out.
Bars, bowling alleys, and bingo halls. They are some of the latest businesses that are allowed to reopen at 25% capacity across Texas tomorrow. Governor Greg Abbott announced Monday these businesses would be allowed to operate at a limited capacity under Phase 2 of his Reopen Texas plan to help restart the economy. Meanwhile, restaurants can now operate at 50% capacity, up from the 25% that was allowed under Phase 1. For people interested in going out to a bar, there are a few things to know. One of the biggest is dancing and other close contact interactions are discouraged. And there are other recommendations. The state is encouraging customers to sit at tables, not at the bar, and is saying there should be no more than 6 people per table. Tables should also be socially distanced, and bars should provide disposable food menus and single-use glasses. For all reopened businesses, interactive areas like arcade games should stay closed, and skates and bowling balls need to be disinfected after each use. These reopenings come on the heels of other businesses that have resumed operations this week, including daycare centers, gyms, and personal care services like massage and tattoo parlors. As the governor ramps up reopenings, San Antonio health officials say it's still too early to tell how this will affect COVID-19 cases in Bexar County and across the state. Dr. Ruth Berggren with UT Health San Antonio says there are a few warning indicators.
The warning indicators are a decrease in the time to the doubling of cases, an increase in the stress of the hospitals. The other warning indicator that's important is to look at the percentage of the cases in a community that are positive. And right now, we have seen a low percentage and a declining percentage.
Doctors and health officials will continue to watch for those rises to determine if we need to tighten restrictions again.
I think that not everybody in San Antonio is rushing out to ease those restrictions. And it's mixed, right? Some people haven't been taking it too seriously, but the majority have.
Let's turn now to today's top stories. The Census Bureau has released growth numbers from the last decade. San Antonio and New Braunfels are among the fastest growing cities in the U.S. The Alamo City has added more than 200,000 new residents. Houston, Austin, Dallas, and Fort Worth were also acknowledged for large growth. Governor Greg Abbott issuing a new executive order that terminates air travel restrictions related to the COVID-19 pandemic. It removed restrictions on travel to and from several states and cities, including California, New York, Chicago, and Miami, just to name a few. Any mandatory self-quarantine as a result of travel to those locations has also been terminated, effective immediately. The Texas Department of Public Safety will slowly reopen driver's license offices over the next few weeks. DPS will open offices in 4 phases by region. South and Central Texas offices will reopen May 29th. Offices will serve customers who currently do not have a driver's license, commercial driver's license, learner's permit, or ID card, as well as those who need to take a driver's test. Services will be offered by appointment only. San Antonio's public libraries have been closed for several weeks now, but online resources are still accessible to the public. The library's website has more than 30,000 ebooks available, hundreds of audiobooks, and plenty of virtual storytelling and learning programs. The library also offers homework help. Meanwhile, the Central Library is celebrating 25 years since the iconic red building was built downtown in 1995. In tonight's Throwback Thursday, RJ Marquez looks back at the library's history, the unique look of its building, and the importance of its culture in San Antonio.
With more than 500,000 volumes of resources, fiction, and history, the San Antonio Central Library is much more than just books. It's been evolving for more than a century. The first San Antonio library opened in the early 1900s on West Market Street with funds donated by Andrew Carnegie.
It was originally started in 1903 in the Carnegie Library, which is now the Briscoe Western Arts Museum.
Flooding severely damaged the building in 1921. A new main library was built in 1930, and its name was officially changed to the San Antonio Public Library. It stood for nearly 4 decades until a new main library opened at the corner of Market and South St. Mary Streets. But it wasn't until 1995 when the city built a new 6-story building on Soledad, giving the Central Library the iconic look it has today. The new Central Library has become a fixture of the San Antonio skyline. It's made an architectural statement and brought national and international acclaim.
Most people, if you have not been here, you're at least familiar with the enchilada red building.
World-renowned Mexican architect Ricardo Legorreta designed the building. He wanted to allow visitors to interpret the architecture through exploration, discovery, and imagination. The library features various pieces of art and murals as well. Each floor is different, giving visitors the sense they are in a sculpture, learning and exploring new adventures inside the building.
The architectural elements are very present, and it's just a very, the energy and excitement of being in this building is something that I love.
Another interesting fact about the Central Library, a popular scene for the movie Selena was shot at that building. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Central Library building, it is hosting a virtual event this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon. It includes a special tour, a parade, and trivia. Learn more about the event at mysapl.org.
Well, it's always a good time to have some Whataburger, but now you can get it delivered to your home straight from the source. Whataburger is now starting delivery specifically in San Antonio first as they start to work this out. But you can order delivery directly from the app now. Previously, you could get it delivered through something like Postmates or Favor, but now through the Whataburger app, you can order it, get it delivered, and Whataburger's coupons will even apply to those deals. So always a great time for Whataburger. Now you can get it delivered almost any time. I think it's a great deal. I might take advantage of it myself right now. Now, San Antonio's Chicken and Pickle is not opening till later in June, but they have unveiled their pickleball courts. Now, what is pickleball, you ask? Pickleball is actually a mix of badminton, tennis, and ping pong, pretty much. It's like all my favorite sports mixed into one. That's not true. But it sounds like a pretty interesting game. It's pretty fun. It can actually be played currently now, even with the CDC guidelines and the city's guidelines put out. So this is an activity you can do. It's up on the northwest side on UTSA Boulevard. Something you can do safely, and it's non-contact. So it really fits with the city's emergency orders. But again, really interesting. The weather is getting a little bit hotter. It's nice to get outside. Pickleball might be the new craze in San Antonio. Last but not least, the zoo is finally going to open its doors again. Now, it's been closed since March 20 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but soon they will be open. They're going to start with a pass holder only weekend on May 29th through the 31st. That weekend is just going to be for the annual pass holders, but starting June 1st, it's going to open back up to standard admissions. People can go again. There are going to be, of course, some social distancing guidelines you will have to adhere, but it's always fun to look at animals, and you know, it's a fun thing. One of the last things I did before quarantine actually was go to the zoo. A really great way to spend a weekend with the family, and so it's exciting to hear they'll be open. They were doing drive-through zoo experiences, but now finally people can go in and see the animals for themselves. So excited. I always love seeing the giraffes and feeding them. So that's great. A couple of really good things to do this weekend. All that and more on KSAT.com. So check it out and take care.
so much for watching the news at 9. The night view starts at 10. See you then.